Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to treat virtualization storage exactly like building a massive skyscraper. We are starting right down at the high-stakes foundation and working our way all the way up to your master blueprint. Because, let's be honest, when we talk about virtualization, it is so easy to get caught up in these flashy upper floors, CPU scheduling, memory ballooning, the networking, and we completely ignore what everything is actually standing on. We all love to praise the hypervisor, right? But ask yourself, what is truly carrying the load here? Underneath all of those virtual machines sits a file system, quietly reading and writing every single byte of every virtual disk, configuration file, and memory snapshot. So what is the cost of silent data corruption in your environment if that invisible layer fails? If you choose the wrong foundation, your entire skyscraper is at risk.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the hidden layer, define some core storage concepts, and compare the major players. After that, we'll look at HCI and specialized storage, build an ultimate decision framework, and then finish up with some common mistakes you absolutely need to avoid.
So let's jump right into part one, the hidden virtualization layer. Think of the file system as your digital city planner. It's the thing deciding how land, or your physical disk space, gets divided into individual plots, which are your blocks. It manages exactly where files get constructed and how the records are kept. Now, a mismatched file system, that's basically just bad city planning. It inevitably leads to urban sprawl, which we experience as fragmentation and performance stalls. Or worse, it leads to catastrophic metadata corruption, which is effectively a collapsed building if the power fails mid-write. Seriously, if you get this wrong, you're looking at latency spikes, massive snapshot sprawl, and entire data stores just going offline. All right, let's lay down some vocabulary in Section 2, Core File System Storage Concepts.
First up, have you heard of copy on write, often called a COW? It's basically magic for your storage. The crucial point here is that copy on write transforms a super risky, resource-heavy overwrite process into an instantaneous pointer update. Instead of modifying existing data right in place, which, by the way, leaves you totally vulnerable to corruption if a crash happens during the write, the file system writes that new data to a completely new location on the disk, and then just updates the metadata pointer. This right here is the absolute magic behind instant, zero-cost virtual machine snapshots.
Next up is journaling. Think of journaling kind of like a chef carefully writing down every single step of a recipe before actually cooking it. If they get interrupted by a sudden power failure, they don't have to guess what they were just doing. They know exactly where to resume or even where to roll back. This completely prevents the file system from having to run massive, time-consuming disk scans to recover after a crash. Moving on to Section 3, the major file system players. If you're in the Microsoft world, you definitely know NTFS. It's the reliable legacy workhorse. It uses a master file table and boasts decades of stability, but it lacks native copy on write. REFS, on the other hand, well, it completely changed the game for Hyper-V. It introduced this amazing feature called block cloning. When Hyper-V takes a checkpoint on REFS, instead of allocating new space and copying all that data, REFS just creates a new reference to the existing blocks. So a checkpoint on a 500 gigabyte VM that would normally take minutes on NTFS, it literally completes in milliseconds on REFS. It's a real game changer. Now, what about Linux hypervisors like KVM? Here we see a bit of a split. XFS essentially behaves like multiple independent file systems. It uses something called allocation groups to handle massive concurrency without locking everything up. This makes it absolutely perfect for hosts running dozens of VMs at the same time. X4, though, remains the tried and true, universally understood foundation. But under high concurrency I/O, its single global lock can become a pretty major performance bottleneck. Then there's ZFS. ZFS treats data integrity and silent self-healing as a first-class concern by breaking things down into pools, datasets, and VDEVs. It literally collapses hardware RAID, volume management, and the file system into one single layer. Every single block of data and metadata gets a checksum. If ZFS detects silent corruption, it uses those checksums to instantly and silently self-heal the data from a mirrored drive. It is absolutely the gold standard for data integrity. Over in the VMware ecosystem, the big problem used to be how to let multiple hosts safely access the same storage simultaneously for features like vMotion. VMFS actually solved this decades ago using on-disk distributed locking over a shared SAN. But over time, those SANs became bottlenecks. So VMware evolved vSAN to eliminate the external SAN entirely.
vSAN pools local host drives into an object-based hyperconverged model, using per VM storage policies instead of your traditional RAID groups. That brings us to Section 4, HCI and specialized storage. Let's take Verge.io, for example. They position their built-in VergeFS as a direct VMware alternative. Its architecture boasts global inline deduplication. Unlike platforms that only deduplicate within a single node, VergeFS deduplicates every single byte of data across the entire cluster before it ever writes to disk. This gives you incredible storage efficiency, especially in VDI or multi-tenant environments, and it even enables instant whole-system atomic snapshots. Nutanix takes a completely different philosophical approach. Instead of a traditional file system tied to the operating system, Nutanix runs a controller VM, or CVM, on every single node. It uses a pass-through driver called Acropolis File Data to claim exclusive direct access to the local NVM drives. By entirely bypassing the hypervisor storage stack, Nutanix practically guarantees sub-millisecond latency and incredibly consistent performance, whether you're running their AHV hypervisor, ESXi, or Hyper-V on top. And the actual data impact of these architectures? It's massive. Raw legacy file systems like NTFS or XFS basically baseline at a 1x efficiency ratio. But as you move up the stack, technologies like Nutanix hit 2 to 5x efficiency thanks to inline compression and erasure coding. And at the very top, VergeFS's global deduplication can literally stretch your physical storage up to 8 times further. That completely changes your hardware budget.
All right, Section 5, the ultimate decision framework. So how do you actually choose? Well, this 5-step mental checklist proves there really is no universally best file system. Step 1 is simple. Your hypervisor often locks in your choice. vSphere needs VMFs. Hyper-V loves REFs. But beyond that, you have to map your choice to your data integrity needs. Like, is a silent bit flip just a minor annoyance or a total catastrophe for your business? You also need to scale your concurrency limits, balance your open source versus HCI licensing budget, and honestly, most importantly, assess your team's skills. A technically superior file system like ZFS is practically worthless if your Windows-centric team doesn't know how to operate it safely.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, common mistakes to avoid. Even with the perfect blueprint, you have to avoid these critical operational traps. First, don't format NTFS with a tiny 4 kilobyte block size when you're storing massive virtual disks. You'll just drown in metadata overhead. Second, do not let snapshot chains accumulate. VMware actually recommends keeping them very short. Otherwise, you will inevitably degrade your I/O performance. Third, never turn on ZFS deduplication without allocating roughly 1 gigabyte of RAM per terabyte of data, or you're going to trigger catastrophic I/O amplification. And finally, avoid VMFS data store overpopulation. Stacking more than 50 to 80 VMs on a single data store creates some really severe lock contention. As we look ahead, the rapidly shifting post-Broadcom acquisition landscape is driving some massive platform migrations, and the lines between file systems, block devices, and object storage are continuing to blur. With S3-compatible object storage becoming a highly viable VM backend and NVMe over Fabrics aggressively challenging the traditional SAN, you really have to ask yourself, is your infrastructure, and more importantly, your skill set, prepared for the next evolution in server virtualization? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.